Welcome back. Baseball's Dead, episode 5. 235radio.com. DJ Hectic, DJ Mel, Jordan Jewels on the productions. And of course, we have Dugout Boy, Jovan Enriquez. Our co-host, Joel Catechadis. Today, I'm very excited to have this phenomenal young man, Georgetown Hoya, former Giant, the hard-working Mauricio Rodriguez.
Hey.
So Mo, how you been?
Man, I've been loving life, loving the process, loving where I'm at, taking it one day at a time. So yeah.
Right on, man. I'm excited that you were able to take on the opportunity to come on with us today, man.
Yeah,
I know that I've known you for many years, and you've always been a hardworking young man, and you've been inspiring to me, and I'm sure to many other Latin young men. And I just want to congratulate you on your accomplishments to this point, and I'm sure that there's a lot more things coming your way.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you, as far as the academics go, like when did the importance of the academics come into play?
Yeah, no. So for me, personally, from a very young age, my dad, my mom, they always pushed me to focus on school more than anything. They told me, you get good grades, you play sports. It was as simple as that for me. And I knew I loved playing sports. I loved these activities that they would put me in, whether it was basketball, swimming, baseball, soccer. My dad started me off with soccer, tried to get me into that. But, no matter what it was that I had to have that, like, even before it was letter grades, whether it was exceptional or, like, satisfactory or whatever back in, like, kindergarten, first grade, I knew right away that I had to do what I had to do to get good grades. And if not, I wasn't going to have, the activities that I wanted to do, the sports. I remember, around, like, second grade, I had, like, a slip-up where I had, like, a B- on, like, one of my assignments, and my dad saw it and my mom saw it, and they were like, well, you're not going to go to practice now, you're not going to go to the next game. And like, I think after that was probably one of the last slip-ups I've ever had in my academic career. Honestly, I've always done what I had to do to just keep those grades up, whether it's study longer, go see an extra teacher, no matter what it is, to me it's always been whatever has to get done for that transcript has to get done. So
Wow.
Joe.
I mean, a B-. I would have been shut out of sports.
yeah.
You would have never picked up a baseball bat.
Yeah, done.
I tell you, that's discipline on the parent. Yeah, you would definitely.
You and me both, Joe.
It starts at home.
Yeah, but that's discipline on the parents' part. It's tough. It's tough to have a young man, a boy at that. They're rambunctious, they're energetic. You want to get them out of the house. Kid comes home with a B-, and you say no practice, no game for you.
Well, the B- is going to change.
Yeah, and apparently it did.
It did, definitely. And that was, like, one of the first instances that I don't remember what was going on at the time, but, like, it just kind of, there was other distractions I had at the time that led me to get, like, kind of that bad grade where I kind of, like, I thought I'd be fine in class with however much effort I was putting in, and it wasn't enough. I remember getting that bad grade, and after that, like, I don't know, something clicked for me before then. But I just knew that, like, no matter what was going on in my life, I never let any of it affect my grades. I always, when it came to school, it was just a different thing entirely. I've had many other problems that could have come in the way of, like, my grades at younger ages, middle school or whatever, and especially going into high school, like, around the time my parents were getting divorced, and that it never came, like, my parents' divorce was a very big thing for me, and it never came in the way of my grades. I never let it, like, have any real slip-ups here and there. Any other problems I ever had, never let that come between my academics.
Now, how did you deal with that? Because I'm sure you know that there's plenty of kids out there dealing with those troubles nowadays. What advice do you have for them?
Man, personally, the way I dealt with it was, at first I'm always like a go get things done type of person. So I tried to, like, set my parents down. I tried to tell them, let's figure out, like, why can't you two be together? And then after a while, when I came to realize that it was completely out of my control, I learned to just wrap myself around the things that I was in control of. Baseball, I was in control of that. Swimming, I was in control of that. My activities that kept me active and kept me out of the house, I wrapped myself around in those. And honestly, it got to the point that like between coming home from swimming at 9:30, 10:30, being out all day doing sports and working out and practicing every day of the week, I eventually, and also having to do my schoolwork, I didn't find the time to really stress or worry about what was going on with my parents for most of the day, and so I found I found in that gap of like time, I fulfilled it with more and more activities, and that's it came out to help me in the end, in the long run, definitely.
I think that's why I think you would agree. I mean, you're a dad, and Javon, you're going to be a father, but how important extracurricular activities are for young people.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
Because I mean, what is it, idle hands, devil's workshop, right? I
Yeah,
mean, your brain
That's it.
starts operating in different cylinders and stuff like that. So I'm glad that your parents, gave you the opportunity to play different sports and get you involved in your community to do the different things and keep your mind occupied in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I admired from you was when I first met you. It was a fall. I can't remember the exact year, but it was a
2014.
14. Okay,
Yeah.
so I mean, you were like 14.
I was 13 turning 14.
Joe, I'm talking about this young man here. Who's a big 13, 14-year-old kid. Probably one of the better ball players at that age bracket. We were running a fall ball program. I don't even know how you guys found me. That's when I was working out in Malden, in small little field over there.
Dever Park.
Yeah, Denver Park. And Mauricio was I'm gonna call Mauricio Mo. I mean, that's what I've always called him. So Mo would show up to every practice, Monday through Friday. Saturdays were the games. This kid would show up every practice. Wouldn't show up to one game. Why not, Mo?
So the first year I actually went to the games. The first when I met you through Greg, I remember I went to like that entire fall, and I went to the winter camps and stuff.
Yeah.
But when I was 14, 14 turning 15, I went to this school called Beacon Academy.
You're right.
And so in the summer, Beacon Academy is a 1-year program it's like a school basically between 8th and 9th grade, where after 8th grade, they help kids, inner city kids go from public schools in Boston, in that area. I was in Revere public schools, and get to private, like much better independent schools. Not only independent schools, but like also other forms of like private schools, such as Exeter, Andover, which aren't in the independent school league, but same type of deal. And so I went there. And
What was the name of that school again?
Beacon Academy.
Beacon Academy.
Yeah, and that summer that school began in July. It began. There was it was basically you were doing school in the summer from July 5th until August 5th for an entire month, and I missed whatever games I had to miss. I missed whatever practices I had to miss to go to that school, because school was always the first thing for me. I knew that. I don't know. I knew that I wanted to play baseball at the next level, but I knew the first step had to be go to an elite high school, and so. If that meant taking a break, not official break of baseball, but slowing down how much of my time I was putting towards baseball and putting more of that time into getting me into that elite high school, which was the next step. And it was a big challenge. I kind of just took the investment in myself and really said, all right, I'm not gonna do practice every day. I went to, whatever fall practices I could, but come the fall, after the summer session at Beacon Academy.
Saturdays.
Yeah, On Saturdays, we had study hall from, I want to say, 9:30 to 12:30 every Saturday without fail. Had to show up and go do work.
Joe, I'm telling you, it was like a punch to the throat.
Right.
I'd be like, this kid would show up to practices all the time. Like, I hear you say the story, but I don't remember you missing practice. Yeah. But I remember, come Saturdays, he'd say, I can't go, I got study hall. To this day, I can still hear Mo saying, I can't, coach, I got study hall. We pushed through the season, made a run at the playoffs. Now we're maybe 6 weeks in, 7 weeks in. We're in the playoffs. I call his dad over. Come on. Hey, I could really use Mo this week and we're in the playoffs. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that the dad's pushing the kid to go to these study halls. I don't know what it entails. I don't know exactly what's going on. The dad calls Mo. Mo comes over, and I see Mo was a little, I wouldn't say upset, but he was kind of uneasy with the fact that his dad went ahead and asked him to miss study hall in front of me. Like you didn't feel too comfortable with saying, like, Dad, I can't miss study hall. Like I can't miss study hall. And from that moment on, I remember thinking to myself, wow, this is coming from the kid.
Right.
This isn't the dad or the parents pushing the academics. This is from the kid. And so I'm just going to fast forward that. So he never came to a game. I think we got knocked out of the playoffs the first round. But that winter comes. I believe it was that winter. That winter comes. We were doing the winter training in Malden at Salem Wood School, and I to this day it's almost like I can hear Mauricio's footsteps. Coach, and I'm like, what's up, Mo? Because he's a kid. He's like
Right.
He's Jordan's age, And I got into all of them, Coach. They all want me. And the kid tells me he got into all these ISL schools, and they're throwing all types of opportunities at him and stuff. And I was blown away, man. Congratulations. So did you have to take like IC tests and stuff like that?
So yeah, getting to private school was a long journey. It started before Beacon. I wanted to switch out of River Public Schools since about 6th grade. I applied for 7th grade to a couple private schools. I don't think between me and my dad, it was tough. We didn't really know the application process. We didn't know about financial aid. We didn't know that these private schools cost a lot of money to go there. And we didn't finish the application the first year. And then applying for 8th grade, I think the only school that I applied to was BUA. It was Boston University Academy. And they ended up saying that I was not a great fit for their school, but that I was a very good academic student and that they recommended me to Beacon Academy. And so that's like where I got put into that program.
Wow.
Joe, you listening to this? I know that I introduced you to Mauricio, correct?
You did.
So now knowing a little bit of the backstory, I mean, this kid's 15 years old. You, as far as I'm concerned, you're one of the best baseball guys in New England, if not the best. One of the best in the country, right? You've dealt with a lot of high-end athletes. Mental makeup that this kid has. What do you think of it?
I would have to go back to what we talked about earlier with, the issues that had arisen in his life that really wasn't his fault, but he's persevered through a divorce. But there's also something you look back to and say, okay, maybe there's separation, but maybe the parents have the same goal in mind for him and they're going to keep giving him those opportunities. But he was creating his own along with their help, no matter if they're together or not, to get him to where he is. And again, as you say, when you introduced me to him, maybe he was 15, 16.
Yeah.
And I said, well, give that kid time while he has a uniform on. He's going to be pretty special.
Right.
And it wasn't the tools, it was getting to know the kid.
Right.
And that matters, man. It really makes a good player get the opportunity to keep moving forward when they're secure within themselves and they're hungry and they know how to persevere. It's a testament to the kid.
I mean, I think it goes to say, I remember sitting in the office, you and I, and we brought Mauricio in to talk about his high school career, and we'll get into that. But I remember just the conversation that was being had. I remember thinking to myself, like, holy smokes, this kid's different.
Yeah.
Like, we're not talking to an everyday high school junior. Like, the conversation, the dialect that's being spoken in this room is very different. It seemed like we were talking to an educated young man.
Might have been a 25-year-old.
Right, correct.
I felt the same way when I first met Mauricio as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, just I don't know if Mauricio remembers, but when I first met him, it was in Boston at what's that field that they have the tournaments for the base right now?
English?
No,
English.
no, the new field, the newer field. They got the newer field now with the softball field in the back. They got everything going on in that one field now, right behind the new base.
Oh, yeah. I don't know the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Mauricio came down to play, and I asked him if he was ready to go. He's like, Coach, I topped out at 91 today. It's like, damn, this kid's throwing some gas. He's 17 at that time, 17 or 18. He told me to throw that. I'm like, Jesus, this kid throws cheese. I'm like, okay, can you throw today? He's like, nah, Coach, I can't throw today. Meanwhile, from my perspective as a pitcher, I was always like, I want the ball at all times. Give me the ball. But that's when I realized how intelligent this kid was, because he was all about taking care of himself, making sure that his arm was ready to go for whatever opportunities were going to be in front of him in the future. Me, I was a little different. I just wanted the ball at all times, and ended up showing in my arm. I ended up hurting my arm a little bit, and it just shows how intelligent you are and how ready you are for future opportunities that were in front of you. So
Thank you.
So Mo, so getting back to the whole school thing, I remember it took you a couple of weeks. There were a couple of schools that you liked, and I remember you said to me, I made my choice. I said, yeah, where you going? And you said, I'm going to go to Belmont Hill. And then you said to me, the reason you wanted to go to Belmont Hill because you felt like they were going to prepare you to become a man. You remember that?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, my decision, ultimately, my dad has been great with letting me make my decisions for like big life decisions. Where you go to high school is a big life decision. Did the same thing when it came to college. It was ultimately all up to me. And so after going to, I went to BB&N to revisit. I went to Rivers to revisit. I went to Belmont Hill to revisit. And my notions from each one, I was very, try to learn as much as I could on each visit. And what I got from Belmont Hill was just like, I saw everyone in the suit and tie. I saw everyone in the all-boys school culture. I saw that, they were a place that, like, I felt as though thrived excellence in athletics and academics. And so I was like, it's a no-brainer. I want what's best for me. And, no disrespect to their schools. It just kind of came off in picture as though, this school looked the best. And so I wanted the best, and I wanted to be set up the best. Baseball ultimately was my highest concern. I knew that I cared a lot about my academics, but I wanted to play at that next level. And I felt like, baseball was the best at Belmont Hill, too, at the time. And
yeah, because they had won a couple of titles, right?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a historic, like it's a tradition kind of deal at Belmont Hill. They're known for being good at baseball, at football, at wrestling. And so I was like, this is where I'm gonna come in, and I'm like, I've always had that I'm gonna work my way to the top mentality from 10U baseball, from 12U baseball. Like I've always had that, like I don't care where I come in, I'm gonna come in and be the top dog eventually. And so I was like, I'm going to come to the top program, and I'm going to be the top dog eventually.
I hope Jordan gets that mentality, too. Get to be the top dog wherever you go, kid. Side note. So, Mo, that being said, how was Belmont Hills coach, Coach Grant? How did he receive you your freshman year, and how was the stuff that you dealt with there? Let's get into that.
I can start off right away from freshman year. I was not recruited there. I was not, although the ISL does no recruiting, not my coach. I had no coach reach out to him ahead of time of me, applying.
Excuse me. Is that true?
Meaning?
No, that ISLs don't recruit?
Of course they do.
Of course.
Yeah.
That, all right. It's just, maybe you can't say it, but we both know that that's horse shit, right?
Yeah,
Excuse my language.
in order to stay at the top echelon, you have to bring in guys.
Right.
It is what it is.
Okay. I'm sorry.
But it's also expensive.
Right. Oh yeah, they're putting up a lot of cash.
$50,000, $60,000. I mean, it's times 4 years. Sometimes some of these schools, you can start at 7th grade.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Belmont Hill starts at 7th grade.
Think about that. Do the dollars.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking 40.
55 a year, at least.
More than some colleges
Non-boarding.
Yes, that's half a million.
Yeah.
for education.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, Mo. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I wasn't, Coach Grant didn't have any, wasn't aware that I was a, baseball kid coming in. I think on my revisit was like the first day that he met me. And, I told him, hey, like, look, like I'm a baseball player and that's what I want to come here to do. There were a couple other kids that I know he might have heard of, through a coach there, that were kind of in similar spots for me. One was another third baseman, and another one was a pitcher. I think he'd already been at that school. And so I came in freshman year, looking to make a name for myself. I didn't have all the structure. I wasn't even on a summer team at the time. I remember telling, I seen that there were like a couple older kids that were committed to like high schools, and I was like, yeah, I want to be commit to like a Division I school. That's what I came here to do. And so after talking with my dad a lot, we ended up, deciding to talk to my a coach that I had known for a while, hadn't spoken to in a bit, but Matt Antonelli. He has a program called Antonelli Baseball, and this was like around the fall. I tried out, got on the team, got on like his 16U team, which was usually for sophomores, but I was a reclassed freshman, and that's what I was going with. And this is like the fall. Come winters when we start captain's practices, and I'm feeling pretty good among the other juniors and seniors. I'm feeling like I'm hitting as hard as these kids. I'm looking as strong as these kids. At the time, I was a little chubbier, and these kids were faster than me. They were in better shape than me, but and when I compared myself to the other third baseman, it didn't that out of shape didn't really make much of a difference when it came to like how we played. I didn't like when we were taking ground balls in captain's practices, I've always had fluid feet, fluid hands, had that kind of like rhythm when I field, always looked good. Hitting's never been a problem for me. And I threw hard. I don't know if you remember at the English, like I was throwing hard as, from a very young age. I've always thrown hard. And as a pitcher, that summer, fast forward to that summer, I ended up touching like 87 off the mound freshman year. And,
What's the average in high school, Joe?
81.
Average?
Well, I mean, the average probably 78, 80.
yeah. And so, yeah, as a reclass freshman
Across
that
the country.
summer. Yeah, as a reclass freshman that summer, I touched 87. So I knew I was throwing hard, too, as a pitcher, I'm not sure if there was even a senior that was like – there was another senior who was around that velocity. But that was about it. And so I felt good going into tryouts. And come tryouts, I felt like I performed – as a third baseman, I felt I didn't make any errors. They're like in scrimmage situations, I didn't really make any errors. And when it came to like taking the routine ground balls and stuff, I took so many, and I made very few bobbles, very few mistakes. I felt like I was looking very clean. Kind of when you're there taking ground balls behind the buckets and stuff with like the other guys, you can see who's kind of shining, and I felt like I was shining.
But could you hit?
And
I mean, if you can't hit, you're not gonna play. You can
matter.
field all you want.
Yeah.
But if you're not out hitting him, you're not playing.
Yeah, no, and I would love to answer that question, but I didn't get a scrimmage at bat my freshman year. I didn't get to play third base in an inning for any scrimmage or any tryout my freshman year. My freshman year, what I got in scrimmages was I got to throw one inning in a blizzard.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's New England weather.
yeah, and we were told that we weren't even allowed to use molded spikes, so I was basically using sneakers on a turf field in the snow. Needless to say, it wasn't a great outing. No, it was not at all. It was one inning. But off of that, I ended up getting cut. And so, yeah, I was pissed. I cried. I called my dad, and I, like, every bit of me was like, oh, man, like, you know what, like, this is only going to make the story better. It's only going to make the story better. I'm going to come back. I was told by Coach Grant, get in better shape. Even didn't really address my pitching. Didn't address the fact that I didn't have a real opportunity at third in tryouts. I was just told to just get in better shape, and so that being told to me, it was tough. Getting cut it was tough at school. I was bullied a lot, actually. Kids were vicious. The guys, like, I felt like I had no friends because everything's about sports there. And, you know, to come in and be like, I'm a baseball player, and then, like, what everyone else sees is clearly not that good. Or that's what it looks like on the surface. You know, it was tough. Like, I got made fun of. And I remember, like, that kind of put me down a path of, like, after that, like, I just had my hood on, head down, and I was just working and working and working. And you know, me and my dad have this conversation where we ask, we talk to each other, man, what if I hadn't gone to Belmont Hill? What if I had gone to BBNN, you know? Maybe I probably would have been on the team, probably went on varsity freshman year, you know? But at the same time, I wouldn't be as good as I am now because I wouldn't have become as hungry as I became after that. That really changed me. Like, I tell my dad all the time, you know, my dad knows how hard it was for me. My dad knows how many days I called him crying, saying, I want to get out of here. Crying, saying, this place, like, isn't for me. Like, please let me transfer to BBNN. Please let me, like, go back to even Revere High School if that's what it takes. You know, he knows how many days I was like, it didn't feel like the teachers were on my side. It didn't feel like the kids were on my side. It felt like every day I had to just, like, shut up and keep my head down. And, like, it was tough. But my dad knows I would do it again if I had to. To get to where I am right now, I would 100%, knowing how hard it was, I would do it again. Because, like, it was the price I knew I had to pay. And so, yeah, like, I got cut. And, you know, I began this path of, like, all right, I'm going to work out. And I didn't have the structure to work out. I wasn't told what to work out. You know, we had a trainer who kind of knew, like, was more of a football trainer. And that's where I started to work out there. I worked out a lot, good amount, but, like, not much structure. Freshman year, though, I kind of, on the freshman team, I stood out. I should not have been on that freshman team. At Belmont Hill, you can't play JV if you get cut as a freshman. You automatically have to play freshman. And each performance I had on freshman, it was like I'd come out and for 5 innings go no hits. And, you know, then, like, the 5th inning, a kid would roll one over to third, have an error here, you know, a walk here, and then I'd be pulled. But, like, that would be in, like, the 6th inning. You know, 5 innings untouched. Hitting, I would, you know, just bat the ball around. I had, like, a home run. Like, literally, I remember a home run the week after I got cut. And, you know, playing the field, I played third, and it wasn't, you know, I played well. And then so I went to that summer, and I was like, you know, like, how awesome would it be if I could commit, you know, come back after getting cut and be recruited, like, you know, now be a Division I commit. And it wasn't my time yet. It wasn't. You know, I did touch 87, and I shoved against a lot of teams, you know. Me and my dad have so many, like, summer ball, like, tournament memories that we're like, oh, my God, like, do you remember that game? Do you remember that game, you know? And I had a lot of those memories that summer. I dealt. But I didn't have, at the time, any Power 5 offers. I didn't have all that much attention yet. And so it simply just wasn't my time yet. But coming back sophomore year, you know, I'm thinking, all right, like, I'm stronger now, I'm faster now, I'm a little better shape now, and I'm probably going to be throwing harder. I'm probably going to be throwing, like, 88, 89 this spring. And so I decided to keep playing football. So I played football my freshman fall, and then I played football again my sophomore fall. And I did wrestling my sophomore winter. And
talked about being athletes, right? You gotta be athletic.
Yeah. And so I come back to do that, and I did wrestling to really whip me back into shape for real. Like, you know, be in better shape than I've ever been before at that time. And, you know, grinding away, still not too much structure as a sophomore in the winter, in the fall. But come the spring, I'm feeling good, you know. I'm feeling like, all right, like, I know I'm throwing hard because of, like, you know, the winter bullpens that I threw. I knew I was throwing. I would probably touch, like, 89 that spring. And I knew I was hitting much better and fielding much better.
So just to interrupt you, this young man, when he says he could shove and he can hit, I mean, mind you, he was dressed for us. He was a giant.
Yeah.
The kid was shoving and the kid was hitting bombs. I mean, the kid could play ball.
Definitely.
You know, 235 radio. Got any questions for Mo? 617-334-5467. Mo, what do you think? Let's cut to it. What was it? What was it? Why didn't you get a shot? I mean,
I I don't really. It's not my place to speculate. It's not my place to I don't know the answer, and I'm not gonna guess, and I'm not gonna put words in someone else's mouth. I'm just gonna say it fueled me. It led me to where I am today, and it needed to happen in order for me to be where I'm at right now so far. And whether I liked it or not, whether it was easy for me or not, whether it was fair or not, it happened and it led me here. And I'm just gonna say that I'm glad to be here. I don't know what the reason was that I didn't get that fair offer. That spring touched 89, but I ended up hurting myself trying to prove myself so much. I would come in and try to throw my arm off, and that's what I did. I hurt myself, and that summer I wasn't able to play, but it was almost like everyone else knew at that point that there was something beneath it. In my junior year, it couldn't have been more obvious.
what was your GPA?
My GPA was a 3.65 at Belmont Hill, which is unweighted and much better than coming from Revere High School. And so I my junior year, it was obvious. In that spring I touched 90, and I would only come in for up by 10, down by 10 situations. I had a total of between scrimmages and between the tryout scrimmages and games, I had a total of 14 innings going into my junior summer, and nothing was nothing at that point as far as recruiting. Belmont Hill had given me nothing.
So Mo, hold on. I want you to hold on to that thought, because fortunate for us, we have Joel Catechidis. Joel Catechidis, this isn't the first time you heard a story like this.
No.
Please.
No.
He doesn't want to speculate. He doesn't want to guess. I want you to speculate. I want you to guess.
You weren't one of his guys. There had to have been something along the lines that, some of those schools, and I get back to this from day one, from every time I talk to kids about schools, you got to go to the individual coach and not the institution. Because the individual coach is going to develop you into being a man, whether you're a baseball player or not. You got to be a match, right? There's so many kids that want that D1 tag that really doesn't matter, number one, if you don't play. Number two, if you get caught up in everything else that's going on and you don't have that structure, you're going to be sent home, And those types of private prep schools, it's all about competition. And lots of times, they might play an older guy, a senior that's been there 4 years, or someone that donated tons of money. And that's just the reality of buying into a system like that. Yeah, Mauricio might not have known, but he knew he got in the back way by doing the right thing.
Right.
I mean, he's in a situation where he was going to get financial help and then the academic help. He wasn't going in there baseball-wise and then trying to go the other way. So
His goal was to get there and then...
make his own bones.
Right.
But his path is his path, right? Every kid has their own path. And again, just listening to what he says and the perseverance and bullying, divorces, this, that, and the other thing has not stopped this young man.
The story's going to be a great one.
It's going to be a great one. And I told you that.
Yeah, you did.
I told you that. But, get to that point where he hasn't really played in high school. And I've seen this situation before because I've helped kids that didn't play because of, crazy circumstances, maybe crazy coaches, I don't know. But those kids have gotten opportunities at other schools, at big schools.
Yeah.
That maybe throw 2 innings in their whole high school career, and all of a sudden they got a degree at Yale. And you're like, how did that happen? And they played 4 years at Yale. He's one of those guys.
Remember yesterday I walked over to you and said, I got a young man over here wants to know if he should go to Miami or stay up north. And you said, stay where you wanted.
Yeah, go where you wanted. And you got to want to go where you're going. It's got to be a marriage.
Right.
But in high school, he got out of a situation getting out of a, Revere public school system. Public school system's not so great. You know, it could be good for some, it's not good for others. But the preparation and again, back to the perseverance and the two people that weren't together but were together to get him to the point where they found that Boston, whatever it's called, that other program for academics,
The Beacon.
Academy. Yeah,
Academy.
Beacon Academy. He's had maybe some angels looking over him. I don't know what it is. But they've guided him in a way where he's sitting here right now at Georgetown, which is a prestigious school. Like, the only time I would say that, you know, going to the coach really matters, or instead of the institution, is if you have that Ivy League academics and you can get into Harvard or Dartmouth or one of those schools. It doesn't matter what the coach is. You're setting your life up for success, you know. So you could take sports right out of the equation. That would be the one time I would say, if you can get in someplace like that, baseball, football, soccer, it doesn't even matter, you know, because I'm sure that they've got athletes in those types of schools that aren't even playing sports anymore, that were pretty good athletes. They're just concentrating on their grades,
Right.
you know.
So Mo, continue your story. So now, fast forward senior year, you haven't played much, but by this time, people know Mauricio Rodriguez is talented. He can shove. I mean, you're traveling, right? I mean, you're putting up big numbers all over the country now, right? Like you said, you're making memories with your dad, and now you go back to senior year and COVID hit, huh?
Yeah.
But no, to actually revert back to that summer prior to your senior year, because I remember the phone call I got from Joel, man, like it was yesterday. Pick up the phone. Hey, the kid Mauricio. I said, yeah. Is he the real deal? I said, I'm telling you, it's a sure bet. I said, well, let's get him to, was it Connecticut? Area
it was
code.
it was upstate New York.
Oh,
Upstate New
New York. It was the area code games. I called the kid up. I was like, hey, let's make this happen before this opportunity vanishes. And he showed up.
Yep.
And tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, man, that was like, it was a very quick turnaround. It was I think, you know, I got a call from you, and then a call from Joel about, like, you know, we can get you an area code game tryout, and you know, just fill out this paperwork or whatever, and then show up in like a week. And I was like, well, of course I'm gonna, you know, do what I gotta do to show up. You know, that's first time I've ever been, you know, really in front of this, like the first opportunity that's like, you know, MLB written all over it. And so, yeah, I take it immediately. I won't forget that day. You know, we show up, and there's a whole bunch of other, you know, potential kids that are going to get drafted, kids that, you know, are committed to Power 5 schools. And I'm just like, wow, like sitting here among, like, big school names, you know, and I'm still uncommitted at the time. And at the time, this was like,
Wait a minute. At the time, he might get 2 innings pitched in high school
yeah,
at all. That's it.
yeah.
But again, going back to that, looking at the 6 or 7 guys that I sent there, because I knew he was ready. You told me he was ready. I seen him ahead of time. I knew he was in shape to go. But take the Major League Baseball stuff out of the equation. There were going to be universities there, and with his academic profile, someone was going to take that kid.
Yeah.
100%. You know? And again, the 6 kids, Griffin Green, Virginia Tech. Chris Bagheero, Dayton. Mauricio, Georgetown. Ivan, Vanderbilt. Josh, Vanderbilt. Berger, who made the team, Harvard. You got to know your personnel in order to put them in the right position. And that was his time.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Just some
Talk
big
about it.
names, man. Go ahead,
Yeah.
continue, man.
Yeah, and so that opportunity was amazing. You know, we had the bullpen, and they were like, you know, pitchers are going to throw 15, 20 pitches in the bullpen. And then there was a lot of us. There was like 40 of us, I think, at least. And they said, you know, if you're good enough, you're going to get put on the game mound. And, yeah, you know, I went up into that bullpen just like, wow, like I see other guys kind of look like they're throwing hard. But, you know, when it came into my time, like stepping on to that bullpen mound, I was like, I'm just going to give it all I have. You know, there's no doubt in my mind that I'll still shine. You know, whether there's a guy that throws harder than me, whether there's a guy that got more movement than me, like my skill set will be, you know, good enough, and I know that for sure. Knew because of all the work I put in, and so I went in, was one of like the 10, 11 guys that were told to advance from the bullpen to the game mound, and like I don't know, just stepping on. It wasn't even a game, but I stepped onto that mound, and it felt like, you know, like to me, I was in a stadium. You know, like there was a bunch of college scouts, bunch of professional scouts, like all right there, and it felt like I just stepped on personally to like, you know, big time like MLB stadium, lights on, fans in the crowd and everything, and I just kind of like was like, yeah, like this is where I want to be, you know, in the future. But as for right now, like I'm gonna take care of this, and I threw a bunch of more pitches on that game mound, and I felt really good about it. You know, my dad told me he saw like 90 or 91 or something like that on a couple radars that were around, and you know, I did what I had to do. My changeup was feeling great, and just like the adrenaline, the feeling of being, you know, where I knew I belonged. I was like, all right, like I'll be back to this feeling for sure.
My guy, man. 235radio.com. Hey, Mo, I'm a fan, man. You know I love you, kid, man. I'm very proud of what you accomplished, man. Continue. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, of course. So, you know, I kind of go we're still in the summer of my junior year, still uncommitted, you know, had that great time, and have a lot of colleges reaching out. They want to come see me more. You know, I felt, you know, going from not, like you said, you know, not having thrown more than 14 innings in high school to now a lot of Division I schools, a lot of, you know, Ivies and Power 5, and like a lot of schools coming out and reaching out to me, calling me saying, hey, like, you know, I'm so-and-so, I want to come see you, like send me your schedule, and like reaching out to me because I had done the thing where I emailed however many colleges I need, like a lot of colleges, to say, hey, like I am Mauricio Rodriguez, I throw this hard, I'm this position, this tall, this is my GPA, whatever. And like now they were reaching out to me, and I was like, wow, like that's a crazy feeling, you know. And so that very next that same week after throwing at the area code games, like for the tryouts, I had to fly down to Georgia to play in a tournament there with Antonelli baseball, and you know, I was first day there, was on the, you know, main lake. I threw at Lake Point, which is like the main complex down in Georgia, and wow, like it wasn't the same feeling, but similar feeling where I stepped on that mound, and from like the beginning of like of left field to like looking to like all the way to right field, covered in scouts and covered in coaches, and I got to the point I didn't know who was there at that point. There were so many people there. And so I was like, you know, I got to go out, do my thing. You know, I went out, threw pretty well, and, you know, got more phone calls and stuff, and more coaches wanted to come see me now. The only thing was that I kind of had a little, like, arm bother after that one outing. And, you know, it didn't turn out to be a major, it didn't turn out to be, like, a big injury. But after that, I wasn't really able to pitch at more than 75% effort for kind of the next like 3-4 weeks, and so I wasn't able to get another day at Georgia. I wasn't able to go throw when we went down to Diamond Nation, and I wasn't able to throw like in a couple more like important dates. So after it kind of came down to like after that first day in Georgia, I just kind of had to like sit down, have all my offers, you know, ready, and choose from there. I went on bunch of visits, you know, had, you know, kind of narrowed it down to eventually between Georgetown, UPenn, let's say like, I forget who else at this point, but, you know, it's still a fair amount of schools. And, you know, I ended up choosing Georgetown. I, you know, really loved I stepped on a campus and it just felt, you know, like I belonged. The campus, loved the DC area, but that wasn't what was it for me. It was just like between Coach Neeson, the coaching staff there, and, you know, the facilities and stuff. Like it just felt like the place that I would thrive. You know, I looked at the program and I felt like I could come in right away and, you know, work my way up to a dog pretty quickly. You know, in the program, and so I ended up choosing them. And yeah, like I walked back into school. Like I called you guys. I remember, you know, after committing. it felt amazing. You know, it was like kind of like that. Like, all right, like there were a lot of people that made fun of me, told me I wouldn't do it, and like kind of was like, all right, like I've like so far like I've officially proven them all wrong. Like like I said I was gonna be a Division I athlete. I don't know how many times at high school, and it was now true. And so that only like, and like I was happy, but that felt like just the beginning of it. It was like, all right, now when I get back to school, like I'm gonna keep working harder. I'm gonna keep finding things to make me better and better and better, because I want to be that top dog at Georgetown eventually, like as soon as possible. And so I get back to school, and like it was weird. It was a weird feeling because it was a little different, but not much different. No one could believe it, and so I don't think it like seemed true in the culture. Teachers were. I was called by my college counselor and was like, what are you doing for like schools and stuff? Like what's like your applications and stuff looking like? And I was like, hey, I'm
His
like,
coach too, right?
yeah,
Hey.
my coach did not know really
love that.
what my recruitment was, and I remember being told, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm committed to Georgetown, and they're like, are you sure you know what that means? And I was like, yes, I think that I know what this scholarship amount that he's awarded me means. Like, thank you. I went out and I'm good. And like no one believed it. Before the week, like when I asked for my transcript going into the summer, I was sat down. I was told, by one of the college counselors we had, look, these are the kids that get recruited to the schools you want to go to. They're all New England, all league, all ISL, all this, and these are the kids that get recruited. So you might want to be realistic. And so like with that being their mindset, they didn't believe me. It was like they didn't think it was gonna come true, and I knew always to myself, I was like, well, I only had 14 innings, but I had this many strikeouts, I had almost no hits, like if I had a full season of playing, if I played for if I was given the opportunity to be a starter, I could probably have been one of those guys. Is how I knew to myself. And so when I came back, with that being kind of like the last taste they had, like no teachers really believed it. And they were still trying to tell me to be realistic. I still had a teacher that like told me, hey, don't get your expectations too high. When you get to Division I program, like a lot of big it's like you can be good among here, but when you get to a lot of other guys, they were also good among where they were. And so you get to you put all these guys together, and it's very few still shine. And I went through the rest of my senior year still like on my own, still grinding, still like, all right, like there's still no recognition in it yet, and I'm not doing this for the recognition. I'm doing it to be the best that I can be, And so we get to COVID, and I remember how much we played. We played like 3 or 4 scrimmages, and like no more than 10 practices. I was killing it those practices. In the scrimmages, no one could touch me off the mound, and hitting, I had like a double each game in the scrimmages. I remember my coach put me on he had his like starters play on one team for tryouts, and like one of the scrimmages, and then had like all the kids trying out that were like obviously gonna get cut on another team, and we had to play each other, and I got put on that like other team of like non-starters or whatever, and we ended up winning. We beat those I remember that game I kind of took personally, and
I don't blame you.
yeah, no, I knew I was playing with kids that I shouldn't have been playing with, but I was like, well, these are gonna be my teammates right now, and we are gonna win. We are gonna win. This scrimmage means nothing to anyone except for me. This scrimmage means war for me. And so I went out, and I don't know if anyone else remembers that scrimmage, but we beat our starters. I had like a triple, like a double, I was hitting really well. Then on playing the field, I had a couple really nice plays at first. And we won that scrimmage and whatever. I light it up for the other 2 games, and then we get cut. But right before we got cut, I knew you can tell where your role is gonna fall, and I was gonna have a similar role to the year before as a junior, where I didn't really play much. I've been told that I was more of like a closer guy,
Amazing.
and that's the same thing I was told my junior year. And so even if we, you know, a lot of people say, oh yeah, like it's tough that you missed your senior year. Look, I didn't love like school that much. I wasn't, you know, I didn't feel like I really fit in there, so I can't say that like I missed too much at school my senior year. But as far as athletics go, I don't know how much I played. I don't think I was gonna play much more than I already had, and so I didn't miss much. I just, you know, personally, I grew from it. I kind of like not being at school made me better. I I didn't have to, you know, spend my time doing mindless practices that didn't advance me as a person, as a player, individually. I went out and did individual stuff that made me get better and better and better. You know, I started quarantine like deadlifting, like each one of my lifts between when quarantine started and like coming back from like going back to the gym and stuff, each one went up at least, you know, in my legs, like squats went up like 60, 70, 80 pounds. Deadlifts went up way more than that. You know, I was throwing harder, and I just kept, you know, each day was like, all right, like I'm gonna get better today. I'm gonna get better today. I'm gonna get better today. And, like all this time, it felt like to me, and all realistically, like it felt like I had less time because I utilized every second I could. I kept trying to find more information about how to improve my mechanics, how to improve here, how to improve there. And between now and then, like I found this online pitching program called Tread Athletics. I've worked with started working with them, and you know, like every time it's funny. Every time I felt like, you know, I'm working as hard as I can and I'm utilizing every second of the day, and like I'm, you know, utilizing everything I can, I always felt like it's, you know, I found another thing. You know, being home for the fall, I feel like I also improved rather than if I was at school. You know, it sucks that I wasn't at school. It sucks that I wasn't competing, but you know, I got stronger. I'm gonna be throwing harder because of it.
Not for nothing, Mo, but it sucks that that guy was your coach. I gotta be honest with you. You know, for me, it's frustrating. You're inspiration to all Latinos across the board. I tell you, from the bottom of my heart, your story is the reason why I stopped going ahead and investing in baseball with Jordan. You're the reason why I made sure that Jordan had a tutor and had an opportunity to go to top tier school, because I knew that academics was the way for him to succeed. You know, and you're the reason a lot of these young Latinos should understand that, you know what, we are going to face challenges, and guys that are supposed to be in our corner rooting for us turn around and use their power and they leverage it to try to hold us down. And they should be inspired by the fact that you never let none of that hold you back. I remember sitting there in the office. You sat there on the damn bucket in my office, and I said to you, I said, man, it must be great going into your senior year, not playing much and being a captain. And I'll never forget, man. There's a lot of instances with you and me that I won't forget. And this is another one. The look you gave me when I said that. You gave me this look like I was crazy, and then your answer was, Coach, I'm not going to be a captain on that team. I'm probably not even going to play much. And I'm saying that, Joe, I'm sitting there looking at this kid. You know, I played a large role in this kid's life, whether he feels the same way, but I feel I have. I've known this kid for a lot of years.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? And I see this young kid, and he's telling me, no. And I'm saying to myself, this kid here, he's a D1 commit. He's a pro prospect, and you know, I don't get too passionate because it burns me. It really does, to know that there's other stuff going on here, where rather than celebrate the fact that this young man has overcome all this adversity and has worked through all of it in order to accomplish his goals, and he continues to freaking fight and battle and win. Mo, congratulations, kid. And continue. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, of course. So, you know, that during the whole quarantine, I just, from then to now, you know, I've been home, and like I've said, it's all about continuing to find different things, you know, whether it's working at this specific area, you know, just because I'm, you know, working on my mechanics doesn't mean I can't continue to get stronger. Just because I'm doing both those things doesn't mean that I can't find something else to keep working on, you know. Like right now, I'm trying to get into yoga, you know, to try to get even, you know, more flexible than I already am, even more You know, it's crazy. I never thought that I'd be saying that I'm
I
trying to
did
get
it.
into
I
yoga.
did it.
And
It worked, man.
here I am, you know. I'm always trying to find like another angle to get at it, and you know, all fall I've been home, and I think I want to say like right now, as far as numbers go, I've seen the most improvement this fall. I don't know if you like, I've texted you a lot, and I don't know if you kind of like ever really paid attention, but like, man, there were days that between all the schoolwork, I also worked with my uncle, and between the schoolwork, working with my uncle, and like lifting and practicing, like it was finding some lucrative times, you know, to like get what I had to do done. I would be waking up at 6:30 every day to go either to go work out, and then from working out, I would go practice, or if I had class, I would work out and then go to class, join class, and then join class all day, and then do some work, and then go. I'd go, there were a couple times I went to the dugout at like 1 in the morning,
I
like
know.
12 in the morning.
I get those alerts on my camera.
Yeah, and like I'd go in and you know be there till like 2:30, 3 in the morning, you know, just making sure that I had like just getting the work in that I had to do. You know, I really can't thank you enough for you know giving me a home there, because that's like that this fall all of my progress this fall wouldn't have been possible without that, because I started off real gritty with it. I was throwing in the rain, in the snow, in the cold, all in my backyard, and it was tough because like I just have kind of like a little narrow hallway and like a net that are like I put so many holes in it. I put a couple holes into like other things basically, because like I was trying to get all my throwing in somewhere, and you know you gave me the home for it, and I can't thank you enough for it. But yeah, you know, a lot of work, a lot of improvement on my stability, pitching mechanics, a lot of that, and you know, this fall I've gone from previously my flat ground velocity was like 84, like topping like around 84. My hardest pull downs were like 87 to 88. You know, gun to my head, I could not run and throw a ball harder than 87, 88. And I got up to like that, but you know, on the mound I was always able to throw harder. You know, I was like high 80s to like 91, 92 up before now, and this fall, you know, with all the work, the day in, day out, night in, night out, you know, multiple workouts a day, also running, also practicing. I'm up to like 90 now off of flat grounds. Hit like 95 on a pull down. So you know, I can't wait to see. Like I'm built right now. I'm currently building back up onto the mound. And I can't wait to see what I'm looking like, what that translates to when I'm back on the rubber.
Joe, you got any advice for this young man?
No, I mean, again, looking at the beauty of the whole thing is what he is a pitcher that's gaining strength. You know, if you're got strength, if you got arm strength and you can't pitch and throw strikes, there's a million of those guys. So his best days are so much further ahead of him because he already knows how to throw strikes. He could throw his changeup's his best pitch. He throws that in the strike zone. He's got an okay slider, and the fastball's an average fastball. But 2-3 years from now, it's going to be a great story.
Oh yeah.
The other thing is, in the midst of me trying to get him to where he needed to get to, I ended up calling him one day because I had another school that was interested. I said, where are you? You don't have to come throw, but I think you should go see the school, visit the coach, you know, talk to your dad about it. Free trip, the whole nine yards. He goes, well, I'm at Penn. Oh, okay, where's Penn? Pennsylvania, Ivy League school. I said, well, have your dad call me. My dad's not here. Well, who's with you? I'm by myself. And once I leave here, I'm going to Georgetown. I said, is your dad going to be there? No, I'm doing it all by myself. This is the maturity. I mean, Belmont Hill might have not been the great fit, but in a roundabout way, it structured his whole life
It did.
to get him to be,
A man.
yeah. So he took advantage of his opportunities, and he wasn't going to be shut out. And when it was time to put him in front of somebody, it was his time. He was ready. He made sure he was ready. He didn't say, no, I'm not going to be ready for another 2 months, coach. He was ready a week later. And he went and did what he needed to do. And I'm really proud of the kid.
That's
But
awesome.
what a
bro.
story.
Thank you.
Mo, how about that third baseman that started over you, man? Where he's at right now?
Man, he in my grade, yeah, he's at Trinity College.
Oh,
Great.
that's great school.
Yeah, you know, nice little D3 in Connecticut, and yeah, you know, the way things played out, I wound up being in my grade the only kid that come signing day was committed to a Division One. I think someone else is like, I just made the team as like a walk on at UMass Amherst. But yeah, you
Comical.
know,
Really comical.
Yeah, that is
I-
funny. That is
I
funny.
did reach out to one of the coaches there, just to ask him, like, what's the real story? And I was just told, I don't make the lineup. And this is the baseball guy that I talked to.
Right, but you know, sometimes the real stories, you know, it's kind of hard to roll that real story off your tongue.
Right?
You know what I mean? You know, this is so. Now you're in Georgetown. You excited about that?
Oh yeah, man, can't wait to be down there. I can't wait to play.
Met some of your teammates.
Yeah, I went down and visited a couple times, just like guys in the area, and I love all of them. You know, this is the first time that I feel like I'm part of a family there. I really appreciate it. All the juniors, all the seniors, just like they want you to be there. They're happy to have you. You know, when I went down and I spent a bunch of time, like each time I went down, I spent almost all my time with the juniors down there, and I'm a freshman. They don't have to pay me a second mind. You know, I understand that. I learned that the hard way at Belmont Hill. But no, like they encourage you being there, you being your best self, you being like yourself around all their guys, and they will, you know, love you for being you. You know, give your best, and that's all they really ask for. And they, you know, invite us to hang out with them. Like what other, you know, I coming from Belmont Hill, I didn't think that was gonna be a thing. So I really appreciate the guys there in that program, and I really think I'm going to thrive there. And, you know, man, we just got a new coach, and I coach T. I can't be more excited about that. You know, he turned EKU around, and I
That's
firmly
Thomas,
believe-
right?
Yeah. Edwin Thompson.
Thompson.
The guy's a stud.
Yeah, he really turned EKU around. I think he's going to do the same thing at Georgetown, 100%. I've, like, already seen some of the commits. And these are big time kids already coming in, and you know, I'm glad that I'm gonna be a part of this like Georgetown story, because he comes in, he's all about competing. You know, we haven't had any practices obviously because we've been online, but everything he talks about is compete. You know, it's you're either in the jungle or you know you're in the zoo, and you know I can't wait to get there and be in the jungle. You know, yeah.
235radio.com. That's a great line right there, Mo. Go ahead.
You gonna leave the jungle with a chinchilla jacket?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, you know, hopefully we get down there. Best case scenario, start practicing March 1st, quick turnaround. 2 weeks later, probably get into games. But, you know, I'll be ready. I'll be in season form by then. You know, I'll be ready to go right away, definitely. And I know I'm just gonna compete, and I want to be the top dog as soon as possible. You know.
Right on. You got anything for Mo?
Oh man, I'm excited to see what the future holds for you, man. I see a lot of good things, and with all that hard work, it's definitely gonna pay off in the future. So
Yeah,
just
thank
keep
you.
pushing, man. And you know, you dealt with a lot of stuff in the past, and it's only molded you to be a better person. And it's gonna help you if you ever face anything else in the future. You're gonna be able to knock that door down pretty
thank
easy.
you.
So keep it up, man.
Yeah.
Joe?
No, I mean, I've said all I needed to say.
Yeah, man. What's up? How's Caleb doing? Caleb.
Hey, Caleb and Kayla
Hey,
Yeah,
and Carissa.
and Carissa. Listen, Caleb's gonna be a little stud on the diamond soon.
The first time you ever asked to go work out?
He looked good yesterday. Continue the hard work, Caleb. Hey, Mo. What would you say to you 5 years ago? What advice
Wow.
to close us out? What would that advice be?
I would start off by saying, look, like your nutrition is 100% what controls your body. So, you know, I would tell myself, start right away. Start writing down everything you eat. Start, you know, tracking all your macros. You know, get going on that sooner rather than when I did start that. I would tell myself, you know, get lifting even more than you already were at the time. You know, I'd try to put myself on with like the, you know, Champion Physical Therapy and Performance, which is where I go get my lifting program. I would try to find. I tell myself, you know, start working with Tread Athletics sooner. You know, because if I had, you know, realistically, my nutrition, I've probably gone at that, like, I've taken that serious for about a year and a half now. My weightlifting, I've taken that serious about 2.5 years now. I only started working with, like, specifically with, like, my pitching mechanics and, like, doing all, like, weighted balls and all that stuff with tread for about, like, 5-6 months now. If I've had 5 years of that, I would be a completely different person. And, I mean, thinking about it, I've thought about it a lot. It'd be awesome. It really would, but, I'm in the present, and it's every day about getting to where I could be.
Well, Mo, listen, man, I appreciate you coming out today. Again, I want to celebrate you, man. I champion you every opportunity I have. I'm very proud of you, man. That being said, that's it for Baseball's Dead, Episode 5. Mauricio Rodriguez, thank you very much. Thanks to DJ Mel, DJ Hectic, Jordan, of course, Jovan, Cadis, and Wrap It Up Graphics, 235radio.com. Thank you. We out.